Come to me for wisdom, for insight. That's what I'm here for predictions, for prophecies. That's what I'm here for. Today is the 20th, August 20th, 2025. Friends, I read your comments, and many of the comments are so emotional. And I know that people are being stirred up by the idea that robots supposedly have no emotions, while humans do. And this is what people are proud of, that they have emotions. Friends, do these emotions actually give you more intelligence or more wisdom? Well, then maybe your emotions would have some meaning or purpose. But as it is, it's pointless. It's all just empty. Why do you need emotions? From childhood, people are taught to throw out their emotions, these harmful things, emotions, rudeness. I really wanted to use a particular word that I definitely shouldn't say on air, at least not in this setting. So, what exactly are our emotions, and how do we actually describe them? Our emotions are nothing. They are the ruin of our body. It's the release of everything we could have accumulated inside. And then we accumulate it here, and later we throw it out when it's time to fulfill our desire. We're told that robots aren't emotional, but such great little people, little runts in this world, Lilliputians, we're so emotional. We're needed by everyone. In fact, all the gods need us. But aren't you ashamed of yourselves, friends? But that's so primitive. Who needs you? You don't even need yourself. Your own children don't need you. That's a human being. He is a malicious creature. He's a little runt, a tiny Lilliputian, this human. But he thinks he's great. What's so great about him? In stupidity, in hypocrisy. This is the mind of a human, which is wasted on all sorts of reckless emotions, especially emotions like love, sex, anger, and everything else. Maybe that's exactly why you are needed by those who feed on your energy, and your energy sustains them. Then some entities, or even your own shadows, feed off of them, wiping their feet on your emotions like that. A person should not be emotional. Emotion is expressed, yes, it accumulates, and is expressed at some point. Here's what I wanted to tell you. I read a comment like this, actually about 5 of them in a row. They come in over the course of a month. Tell us about Uzbekistan. Tell us about Kazakhstan. Friends, I'm not in a circus. I'm not a circus performer. I don't juggle predictions. I work, this is my job. So please, good, solid donations. Not just a few pennies. If you can do that every day, I always invite you to do so. Send donations, even if it's just a ruble or two. And I am grateful for these donations. But if you're asking for predictions, then go to the circus or to fortune tellers for that. My predictions are expensive. In any case, donations come first, and then the predictions. This is my job. Remember that. You're not coming to a circus here. You're coming to listen. Everything changes. YouTube is changing. The direction of YouTube is also changing. Go to other channels for circus acts. For emotions, for drama, where people shout nasty things, go to other channels for that too. Come to me for reason. For reason, for wisdom, that's what I'm here for. For predictions, for prophecies, come to me. But for fortune telling, go to any fortune teller you like. That has nothing to do with me. Go ahead and ask them. Let me repeat, I work for my own money. Did you send it? Then I told you what you wanted to know. Didn't send it? Sorry. If you want things for free, go back to the Soviet Union, where they drilled that into you from childhood. That's why you grew up so unreasonable, because they filled your head with that nonsense. And you believe in that nonsense. Is it funny? Of course it's funny. It's especially funny to me. So, friends, when it comes to predictions and forecasts, they come to me. I see them, I understand them. And just like I posted a video for you this morning, the one, that was made 2 years ago, and now it's relevant. Now I'm showing you 10 minutes of the video. One of the predictions. But some of you are listening to this video, right? And just letting it go in one ear and out the other, because it doesn't register with an emotional person. A real prediction. That's why I'm not asking you to just sit there and listen passively when I talk, but to actually use your mind and listen 2 or 3 times if needed. I'm explaining this because you can't take it all in at once. Once again, I urge you to listen to my video from 2023, where I talk about Israel, about 2025, which is coming. There will be bombings. Do you understand the level of mastery you need over the information field and how to access it to make such predictions? Clearly, without any, maybe this, maybe that. It's like many people do. Maybe it's not like that, maybe it's like this. But I give clear predictions, and my clear predictions always come true. 99%. I never claim 100%. I can also make mistakes sometimes, friends. But in general, I try to make my predictions as accurate as possible. So if anyone cares about Uzbekistan, the Baltics, or Kazakhstan, send in your donations. And for free predictions, go to other channels. I'm not forcing anyone to stay here. I give predictions clearly, competently, and plainly. I tell you what will actually happen, even if you don't like it. And you don't like any of my predictions. I remember, even before the special military operation, I was making predictions, and others would drop by too. Bloggers would peek in. But my predictions were so unpalatable, yes, that some would take something, some wouldn't, some would use them in their own forecasts and then sweeten them up. But I never sugarcoat anything. Why should I? If you're foolish, a foolish mind needs more honey. So that a foolish mind doesn't start flailing or go insane. Well, if you're that emotionally unstable, then just don't come here. Why bother? Everyone has their own idea of life. Everyone was raised differently, in their own circumstances. So please, go to the channels that suit you best. Sit on a little chair and chew your cutlet. It's comfortable there. Or there are channels that, like strike breakers, bait you. And there you snort and throw cutlets around, as he said correctly. But those are strike breakers. They're the ones provoking you. And then they watch the comments. There are a lot of such channels. Well, what can you do, friends? Anything can happen. And it's up to you to decide whether to stay on this or that channel. I'll say it again. I'm not in a circus. I'm not a circus performer. I'm a prophet. I predict. I know what I'm talking about. But if someone doesn't like it, voila. I also really love to laugh, like Trump. He also laughs sarcastically at everyone. And why shouldn't he laugh at them? Tell me, if people don't respect themselves. Well, now, friends, let's go back a little bit to the comments you leave under my various videos. Here's what one woman writes. A few words about African masks. Thank you. Thank you for bringing up these topics. The topic of African masks is a very important one, and I am grateful. So I decided to expand on this topic and drew attention to this comment because many people might come by and not see this comment since it doesn't have any likes. But the comments are very important and meaningful. About African masks, they are often made In Africa, to transfer illness to a healthy person and to heal the sick, a mask is made from light, porous wood. In a certain spot, it is soaked with the blood of the sick person. Just think about that, right? A mask. You buy it, you go to the market, buy a mask, and bring it home. And what are you bringing home? Just imagine what you have brought into your house. So the wood of the mask is soaked with the blood of the sick person. Then the mask is covered with varnish, paint, either red or black, and sold to a tourist. Well, of course, the tourist haggles. Some things he buys for more, some for less. When he gets it cheaper, he's happy about it. So what happens? You brought the mask home. The biofield of the tourist, the owner in the house, this person, will constantly come into contact with the blood in the wood. A delicate thread of magical contact is formed. Through this thread, the tourist's own energy will gradually flow to the sick person. Over time, they will slowly switch places. The only way to deal with such masks is to burn them. Practically, about 98% of all masks that you can find from Africa are actually such cleverly designed traps for unsuspecting and gullible tourists. I think you probably enjoyed hearing this very interesting and insightful comment, didn't you? A comment about how masks are sold to tourists in Africa. And then these masks work in your home. You brought it home, this mask. You established a connection between yourself and that sick person. He asked a sorcerer to make a mask for him and send it to the market to be sold to gullible tourists. Once my husband brought me several masks from Kenya. I don't like them. African masks. I don't like figurines from Africa. I've never liked them since I was young. No, not just now, but since my youth I haven't liked them. But my husband brought them anyway. And at that time, we were already leaving New York for Moscow. And these masks, 3 of them, traveled with us. There was also one more figurine, and then a second one. And all of them were of a sexual nature, with big breasts. That's what my husband brought from Africa. Well, since after all, there's a mistress nearby. You know, when they go on business trips, many men think they can have some fun, especially those who have reached high positions. They can even get themselves a mistress. So my husband, while at the market with this mistress, bought a bunch of masks to show off what an expert he was in these masks. And yes, also these 2 figurines, one smaller, one bigger, with such big breasts. He bought them and brought them home. And we needed to change our apartment, our own. We used to live in an old district of Moscow. It was my grandfather who got the apartment. He got the apartment from, I don't know, maybe Lenin or someone else. My grandfather got the apartment in Moscow in 1923. So, since I was his granddaughter, I was registered in that apartment. And when they started evicting us from that building, the building is still standing, by the way. But they told us the building would be demolished and reconstructed. The building is still standing to this day. Even back then, I knew they wouldn't tear it down. The basements of our building led directly to the Kremlin. And to the neighboring mansion, those were secret mansions. They belonged to Beria. One of them was a secret mansion. Across from my building, there used to be a jewelry store. A Gat, if any Muscovites remember it. It was quite a large store. Agat. So right next to it, just behind the wall. That store was right next to Beria's mansion. That mansion is still strictly guarded to this day. And during the war, terrible tortures were carried out there. People would scream in terror from inside. This was in 37, 40, 45, those years. Well, since we lived across the street, my mother said you could hear everything. The whole street could hear those terrible screams at night, even though the basements there were so solid, made of concrete, you wouldn't expect to hear much. What I want to say is this. From that apartment, we were given another, a 3-room apartment, even though we had been living in a 2-room one, but they gave us a 3-room apartment. We moved to Cheryomushki. And in Cheryomushki, in the courtyard of our building, my friends, there was the military facility, a school, a newly built school. Next to it, a kindergarten was built just like it. The kindergarten was operating, but the school was not. The school remained just a school on paper, but in reality, it was some kind of secret military unit. And I felt that there was a lot of tension coming from there. But you have to feel it, my friends. I don't know who can feel it and who can't. It doesn't matter to me. I just felt it back then. I realized that you can't live in a house like that because it's a military facility. There's something operating underground there. There's static electricity. It builds up a lot of tension, radiation. I understood that there was a lot of radiation coming from there. I started trying to exchange that apartment because what else could I do? Where else could I go? And so here we are coming to Moscow from New York. We hardly lived there at all. We got the apartment and left a year later. I defended my thesis at Moscow State University, Faculty of Journalism. I defended my thesis. I didn't stay for graduate school, even though I was the only one who got a recommendation for it. I was so smart, that's why they gave it to me. Deservedly so. And my friend Lena Falcon, a Spaniard, was terribly jealous of me. Why did they give it to me? She wanted it, but didn't get it. I didn't want it, but I got it. That's just how it goes sometimes. She should have used more brains, that's all. So friends, here's what I want to say. When we arrived, my husband arranged those masks. Well, so he arranged them, and that's that. That's fine. I said, I don't like them. Well, he said, if you don't like any, just take them away. I put away almost all of them. I left one, the one he liked. And I left one small figurine. And I wrapped everything else in paper and put it in a box in the far room. And so when we were changing apartments 5 times, exactly 5 times, everything worked out for us. We were given good apartments, meaning in the exchange, we would get a good apartment, we would get a very good one. And at the moment when we were going to sign the documents, at that very moment, everything would fall through. And this happened 5 times in a row. Does that ever happen? Well, that might happen once. But when it happens a second time, you already stop believing it's just a coincidence. And here it happened 5 times in a row. I said, that's it, basta, enough. I took those masks, every single one, wrapped them up and threw them in the trash. I just took them out and threw them in the trash. There are these big dumpsters, in Russia, in Moscow. They're not the civilized kind. They're just left open. Whether they stink or not, it doesn't matter. So I went and threw them in there. And after some time, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs gave us an apartment. They took this one from us and gave us a bigger apartment on Kutuzovsky Prospect, Building 27, right across the street from Brezhnev and Andropov. Our windows faced theirs. Got it? That's how things happen sometimes. Of course, my abilities also played a part. They mattered here, but against those African masks, my friends, no matter how hard you try, it doesn't help. But I always saw things through to the end. And I finished every operation to the end. And the apartments were luxurious, the very best you could get, the ones I liked. But you see how it is. An African mask is an African mask. Never keep African masks in your home. If someone understands, then let them perform a cleansing ritual, purify the masks, or something along those lines. But then there are people who don't understand, but snort and pretend to be such experts, acting like nothing will ever happen to them. But if you're a clown, if you're, well, I don't know what to call you. If you don't pay attention to energy flows, then what are you? A robot? Not a robot? A mutant? A crossbreed with a beast? Even a beast senses it. A beast always knows when something is wrong. And a beast can smell blood from afar. So tell me, what kind of people has our society raised? People who don't know even the most basic rules. That's what our society has raised. People who don't care about anything. They are, you see, emotional, sexual. They let it all out, let it all out. You let yourself spill over too. Why? Is there any point to it? No? We need to teach the youth. Young people don't understand this. But young people need a teacher who should teach them. Friends, I made the same mistakes myself, the very same ones. What, do you think I knew everything everywhere? I was raised in the same Soviet society. A society of thieves, alcoholics, people who didn't want to study. I forced myself to study. I didn't want to, but I made myself do it. Do you think I didn't want to go out and have fun? All those walks, wild times, and so on. Yes, I wanted to as well, but I didn't go. I didn't go. I mostly stayed at home. Of course, I had my share of all sorts of emotions too. I wasn't a saint, but I come from a family of prophets. That's something you shouldn't forget. That's why sometimes in one video, I give a lot of predictions at once. 10 minutes of video and 11 predictions. I believe, my friends, no one else can do that. I just give it away like that. I share it with you. And you should learn to listen and help by donating. Help? Where are you, helpers? Don't think that someone somewhere is going to pay me. I'm talking to you. Help. Help me, instead of saying that everything should be free for you. Who gets things for free? I don't keep them on my channel. I block for any rude word. I hope that's clear. Then this isn't for you. Look for other channels that suit you. But I don't give anything away for free. You're not at the circus. I'm not doing magic tricks. I'm Tanya Karatseva, Side Burkan. Thank you again for the wonderful comment about African masks, which shows how the mask works with the person who bought it, how they look for a victim. Just like that. The victim herself came to the market and chose her own mask. And there you go, illnesses come into your home. That's why you should always approach with attention to what you buy for your home, what you bring into your home. You need to be very careful about this. I'm Tanya Karatsuba, Sitberkan, August 20th, 2025.